Right guys, Neil from Neil Collins Recording. DJI have just released a new update for the DJI Fly app. It's got some amazing new features, one in particular that I think everyone's going to like. I think you all know the one that I'm talking about. So let's get into the video. Neil from Neil Collins Recording. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Either way, really appreciate you being here. If you do like the video and find it useful, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that I can notify you when the next video comes out. I'm releasing videos twice a week at the moment, gear tech reviews, tutorials, all that sort of thing. I've also working on some affiliates with Soundstripe and Artlist, two great music licensing sites you can use for your films and videos. So please do check those out, they'll be in the notes as well. Got 10% discount on the Soundstripe subscription at the moment. Use the code in the notes below. Right, so let's get into today's video. This is new as well, by the way. My last video was on microphones and I just really like the way this sounded, so I'm going to keep this for a little while, see how we get on. If it's too distracting, let me know in the comments. I'll go back to what I was doing before, but I think this works for now. DJI released a new app update this week. Everyone's referring to it as version 1.1.6. First thing you're going to want to do is update your firmware. It's really easy to do. Just go onto the DJI Fly app and it will give you the option to update the firmware. If that doesn't work for some reason, what you might need to do is delete the app and then reinstall it, because if it's trying to update an old app, then you might not get some of the features that you should get with this update. So just bear that in mind. The main thing that everyone's talking about is the zoom function that you are now able to do with the Mavic Air 2. Now that's a real game changer. The only other DJI drone that did this before was the Mavic 2 Zoom, which kind of set that drone apart from a lot of other drones. I made it appealing for that very reason, that you could do digital zooms on the drone itself. Now you can do it with the Mavic Air 2, up to 4 times zoom in 1080p, 60 frames per second. Not bad at all, eh? Couple of other things with this update. Additional obstacle avoidance, that's been improved, so we'll have a look at that. They've now added 4K resolution for hyperlapse, where before it was 1080p or 8K. Now you can choose 4K, so that's a nice option to have. They've also optimised the FPV mode on the gimbal, so we'll take a look at that. And also in sport mode, they've improved the gimbals. The gimbal used to drop, you used to be able to see the propellers sometimes. That's all been sorted now. You can go as fast as you want. You won't get any propellers in your footage. Your gimbal will stay nice and stable. So that's all been improved. And the last thing, low down active track apparently has been optimised, so we'll have a look at that. So let's just have a quick look at all those functions, see if they work, see what they do. Went out with the drone earlier, so let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look at those zoom functions first of all and see how they work and if they're any good. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's get it up in the air and have a look at these new zoom functions. Alright, so let's take off. Okay, so we go let's go 100 meters up in the air. Okay, so we're 100 meters up in the air, so let's just find something to focus on. Let's this little house. Let's focus at this little house. Okay, so first of all, you choose your resolution. I'm just going to record a normal 4K now, which is now called 4K wide. I'll just do like a 20-second clip. Okay, so this is where we can have a look at these zooms. So if we go to the zoom function in 4K and just record a short clip so that we can compare, and we go 2 times zoom and we just record another short clip. Okay, so here they are side by side, look pretty good to me. When it gets to ×2 crop, the image is starting to get a little bit noisy, but I think this footage is more than usable. 4K you can only do 1 or 2 times zoom. You can't do the 4 times zoom. You have to be in a lower resolution to be able to use those functions, which we'll have a look at in a sec. And as you can see, with the zoom functions, you can only do it in 24, 25 or 30 frames per second. Switch to wide, which is the normal, and you'll get all your other frame rates back. But on zoom, you are limited to the 24 to 30 frames per second. 2.7K all the way up to 60 frames per second. Let's just do a quick 1 times crop, 2 times crop and 2.7K. And again with the 2.7K footage, more than usable. What you'll also notice in this new update is a new battery indicator at the top, which is quite nice. It's like a round circle now that goes red and gives you how much percentage of battery is left. It's just quite nice and easy to use. So let's have a look at 1080p and see what we can do with this one. So let's just record 1x crop. Alright, so this is 2x crop, 1080p, 3x crop, 1080p. Okay, 4x crop, 1080p. You can see that on the 4x zoom it's starting to get a little bit noisy and blurry. 3x zoom, not too bad. All the way up to 60 frames per second in a 4x crop. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so now let's look at the new obstacle avoidance features and see how these have changed with the new update. If you go to the three dots in the top right hand corner, it'll bring up all your tabs. The safety tab is the first one that will come up, and it's the one that we want to look at for the obstacle avoidance. You've now got three options. You've got bypass, which will go around the object or over the object. You've got brake, whereas when it gets to an object it will just stop. Or you've got off. If you want to get really close to objects, then you might want to turn it off. But now you've got the zoom functions. There's not really any need for that because you can just zoom into an image now without even having to move the drone. So that's another great thing about the new update. And what you can also do now is you can disable sideways flight. So you can keep the drone going really straight and it will just go up and over obstacles without going left or right. So we're going to disable sideways flight for this test. So if I go left or right now, the drone isn't moving at all. Okay, and it's going forwards and it's just detecting that nicely, up and over, no problems at all. So we're heading over to some trees. Three dots, safety, bypass is on. Disable sideways flight is on, so it should just go up and over the trees. And there we go, just up. It's close. Close, but up and over. I can't really see a great deal of difference. It's just turning off the disable sideways flight. Okay, so the next function that DJI have added to this new update is the FPV mode. If you go to the three dots again, you go to the control tab. The default setting for the gimbal mode is follow mode, and that's how you want it set most of the time. But you can now set it to FPV mode. So the gimbal is set, so wherever the drone looks, the gimbal will go. And I'll just show you from the drone's point of view, show you what I mean. And as you can see, the gimbal just moves with the drone. You can get some quite cool shots. I can see where there would be some use for this in films. Escape videos and that sort of thing. I think that would be quite a nice little option to have. So that's cool, that's something quite nice that they've added, the FPV mode. So the next one is to do with hyperlapse. So if you go into the camera function in the tabs, you can now see in the resolution for hyperlapse you can have 1080p, 4K or 8K. So we now choose 4K. It used to just be 1080p and 8K, but now you can have it in 4K as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the gimbal in sports mode. As you can see, they're going pretty fast and the gimbal is staying stable, it's not pointing downwards. All in all, I think they've done a great job with the update here. Okay, and finally, let's have a look at the active track. Now, the update says that it's optimized the low-level active track. Now, the active track was pretty good before. I'm not really sure how they're going to improve on that. We'll take a look what happened earlier on and you can see for yourself. Alright. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so it's tracking me. Quite low, but it's not super low anyway. But it still won't. I don't know how that's optimised there. Maybe it is. It's quite nice. Turn, bit of a turn there. Still tracking me. tracking me quite low. Nice. Do a quick turn. See that? Okay, so I've done a quick turn. Still tracking me. So yeah, I can't really tell much difference, to be honest. You still can't go super low. So that's a bit inconclusive, really. So there we have it, the new update from DJI for the Mavic Air 2 and the DJI Fly app. The zoom function's great, it's a real game changer. It really changes the whole use of the drone. It means you can zoom into objects without having to get too close with the drone. It basically gives you a lot of the functions of the Mavic Pro zoom. Obviously you haven't got the 1-inch sensor, you've still only got the 1/2-inch sensor. So the images aren't going to be as good as the Mavic Pro zoom, but it's still a real upgrade. And for a drone that's already an amazing price for what you get, now you get even more. 4x zoom in 1080p, and I know the image degrades a little bit when you get to 4x, but it's just made a great little drone even better. So Mavic Air 2, I mean, I love it. I think it's a great little drone. The other updates didn't really wow me that much. The FPV mode is nice. Obstacle avoidance, it pretty much did a similar thing before anyway. It's good that you can lock it so you can't go sideways. The optimization of the gimbal in sports mode is good, and so that you can't see the propellers. I don't shoot a lot of film in sports mode anyway, but it's a good option to have. So it's good that they've sorted that out. Active track, didn't notice any difference, to be honest. The active track, you still can't go low, and I can't really tell much difference between this update and the one before, so let me know in the comments if you think any differently. 4K hyperlapse, it's good to have that option. Again, you had an 8K option anyway, which I think a lot of people will still use. People want the highest resolution possible for hyperlapses, I think, but it's still good to have that option. The new little battery indicator is quite nice. It's nice and easy to read. It's a bit more visible than it was before, so that's good. So yeah, I think all in all, it's a really good update from DJI, and I think it's really transformed what you can do with the Mavic Air 2. Mainly because of the zoom functions. So it's definitely one of the better firmware updates. Sometimes not much really changes, but there's some big changes in this one. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell. Leave me a comment. I always like to read your comments. Let me know what you think about the update. If you've had any issues with it, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you wish they'd done, what you wish they hadn't done. I'd like to know. Let's start a conversation below. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Be great to have you on board. If you're already subscribed, always appreciate you dropping by. It means a lot to me, people watching my videos, so let me know what you think about the new mic setup, and I'll see you in the next video. I can't, that's one thing with this mic, I can't do that thing.